We have started a new practice. Something good has come out of this pandemic that at least we can get together. Something we probably would not have done on a Tuesday at 10:15 if the things were regular. I would probably be on my way to Deal to teach in the Ilan High School, which obviously today we do it on the Zoom. I'm not complaining about that. That's one thing I'd hope would stay and remain after this is all over, that I don't have to drive to Deal on Tuesdays. I'm going to lobby for that. Although this 10:15 class, when this is all over, I'm going to miss it because we got together and we're able to learn these interesting halachot that might not be able to do during the regular season. But nonetheless, God willing, maybe we'll figure out a way to maintain this connection that we're enjoying. Well, today I want to switch the direction. Yesterday we talked about Nihum Avelim and Bikur Holim, and a lot of the halachot that we discuss now, that are pandemic related, are morbid halachot. They're all halachot of things that are not so optimistic and things that are not so upbeat and things that are not so positive, although it's a reality, you got to deal with it. So today, I'd like to switch gears and instead of talking about death, we'll change the topic and talk about birth. And the discussion I want to discuss today is the Jewish opinion on birthdays. I want to solve that and put this to rest once and for all. You hear many opinions. We celebrate them, we don't celebrate it. It's a goy thing, it's a Jewish thing, it's a children's thing. It's not something that we should adopt, or some say it's a mitzvah. So we need to go to the sources to discuss what the inyan of Yom Huledet is. Now, I also chose this topic today because one of our honorary members, Mr. Jaime Dana, is celebrating his 40th birthday, as I understand, and therefore he always likes to know what the right thing to do is, and I know he only has until sunset to celebrate, so therefore I want to give him the clarity in order that he'll know what exactly is incumbent upon the birthday boy. Jaime will give us his address a little later that we can send him birthday gifts. I think he follows that minhag. Therefore, all those who want to participate, they can send them the gifts. All right, Rabotai, we begin today's halacha. The earliest source for a birthday is not a positive source. I mean, the source is from the Torah, Parashat Bereshit, Perek Mem, Pasuk Chaf, but unfortunately, it's referring to the birthday of Paro, and the Torah says, ויהי ביום השלישי יום הולדת את פרעה ויעש משתה לכל עבדיו. So that's the first birthday party that we have documented in history, not by one of the Lamed Vav Tzadikim, mind you. The first birthday party was celebrated none other than by Paro Harasha. So if we stop the class over here, the Torah clearly would be against birthday parties. And if somebody would do it, we would say this is considered Ma'aseh Paro. The second source, we go to the Mishnah. The earliest source in Mishnah comes from a Mishnah in Avodah Zarah. The Gemara talks about it in Avodah Zarah Daf Yud. Over there it talks about that you're not allowed to do business transactions with the Goyim 3 days before their holidays. Because if you're going to have transactions with them before the holidays, they're going to give the credit to the Avodah Zarah. So the question of the Mishnah is, what are their holidays? So the Gemara starts to list all different holidays that the Goyim celebrated to the Avodah Zarah. And one of them, the Mishnah says, is Yom HaLedah, which is the day of birth. Rashi says in the Gemara in Daf Het, Osim kol bnei malchuto Yom Ed Mishana shel Yom Huledet shel HaMelech. So they would make a party for the king on his birthday. So you see again, this was an old practice. Not only that, but it was connected to Avodah Zarah. They would actually do some sort of, ritual to this. So again, we're 0 for 2 so far on trying to defend birthdays. Furthermore, Rabotai, I found the Yerushalmi, also in Avodah Zarah, that also mentions not only kings' birthdays, but mentions personal birthdays of regular commoners. And the Penem Moshe over there writes that the birthday of the king was called Yom Ginosia. They call that Yom Ginosia. And then he says there's a regular birthday called Yom HaLedah, V'hu she'osim oto Yom Ed Liyahid, Kol Ehad Ve'ehad Bebeto, B'Yom Ledah Shelo. So there was another Avodah Zarah holiday that was practiced by individuals, that on their personal birthday they would get together in their home and do some stuff for Avodah Zarah. So it seems, again, from all these sources, that we really don't have any credibility. There's a famous derasha that was said by the Admor from Munkach, and he also was not for birthdays. We're celebrating them, and his proof to this was there was a big debate in the Gemara between the schools of Shammai and Hillel. The debate was, is man better off that he's created, or would we have been better off that we have not been created? And they debated this for 2.5 years. Well, for certainly there's a lot of people that I know that would have been better off for all of us if they weren't created. But we're talking about in a general, none of our members, of course, but we're talking about in a general rule, is man better off that he's created or not? Mutav lo adam shenivra or lo nivra. So the Gemara, amazingly, after the whole philosophical debate for over 2.5 years, comes out with the following conclusion. Please hold on to your seats, Rabotai. The Gemara concludes, Mutav le adam shelo nivra. Unbelievable. Better that you weren't created. But v'achshav shenivra, now that you were created, all right, you pashpesh, you mashmesh, you better do ma'asim tovim and things like that. I once heard from Acham Baruch alav shalom that he explained the pasuk in the Torah, Elle toledot Noach. So he says, regarding the toledot, the creation of man, there's a mahloket. Noach shenibra or Noach shelo nibra. Elle toledot Noach. But then he said, now that you're created, is tzaddik tamim. Be a tzaddik, be a tamim. Now that you're created. Which means, Noach, but at the end of the day, you're here already. Like we talked about last night. Al korhach atan nolad. So therefore, you better make the best of it. So the Maharsha says, why? Why are we better off not to be created? So he said it's all about the odds. If you know anything about odds, he says to the Maharsha, the odds are against us. That we have more possibilities that we're going to fail at our mission than succeed. Why? It's all in the numbers. There's 248 positive commandments and there's 365 negatives. So there's more chances to do something wrong than there is to do something good. There's over more than 100 more averot that are potential than there are mitzvot. So the Maharsha says the odds are stacked against man. And therefore, better that he should not have been created because the chances are he's going to make an averah before he makes a mitzvah. Says the Admor Memonkach. However, how can a guy then celebrate his birthday when the Gemara says Noach lo shalom devra? But he writes that when it comes to the goyim, well, the goyim only have 7 mitzvot, so therefore they only have 7 mitzvot b'nei Noach. So for them, they don't have too many possibilities to fail. So therefore, for them, the birth is the odds are in their favor. So a goy could celebrate his birthday. Mashiach, a Jew that has so many chances, like the Maharsha says, Noach lo shelo nivra. And that's why, incidentally, I once heard in the Berachot HaShahar that we say every day, one of the Berachot we say is, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, shelo asani goy. So the rabbi asked, why do you say this Berachah in the negative? Why don't you say Sha'asani Yisrael? Why do you have to say Shelo Asani? That you didn't create me. Because he says, you can't say the Berachah Sha'asani because Noach lo Shelo Nivra. So how are you saying Sha'asani when you would have been better off not created? So you have to say it in the negative. Okay, now that I'm created, Shelo Asani, at least you didn't create me as a goy. So that's the Admor Memonkach. He felt that birthdays, like Jewish people, it's not an item. I saw brought down, however, I saw brought down by our great rabbi, Ben Ish Chai. The Ben Ish Chai is in the Halachot. It's in the first year, Parashat Re'eh, Halacha Yud Zayin. I'm quoting the Ben Ish Chai. V'yesh nohagim la'asot b'chol shana et yom haleda liyom tov. Some people have the custom to make the birthday a yom tov, v'siman yafehu. And it's a good siman to do such a thing. V'chen nohagim bebetenu. Wow. The Ben Ish Chai says, that's the custom in my house. We make birthday parties. We make it a Yom Tov. So here you have already, different opinions over here. We can ask the following question: how could the Ben Ish Chai say to make parties when we saw that this was the minhag of the Avodah Zarah, and we have a law that says that you're really not allowed to follow the practices of Avodah Zarah? So the Ben Ish Chai knew the Gemara on Avodah Zarah. How could he come along and say "V'chen nohagim bebetenu" when that was a practice of the goyim, and we're not allowed to follow the practice of the goyim? So I'd like to tell you a very important rule when it comes to this klal or this halakha, this mitzvah. You cannot follow the practice of the goyim. When are you not allowed to follow the practices? When it's something that they're doing that doesn't make any sense, that's illogical. As a matter of fact, the pasuk says "hukotehem," when their practices are like a hook, when they do something that makes no sense. So for you to copy it, you're only copying the goyim. But if you're doing something that it's logical, you can explain why you're doing it. For example, all the goyim, they wear neckties. Oh, now you can't wear neckties? No, there's a logic. It's a fashion. It looks nice. It makes it makes you look kempt. It makes you look normal. That's not a hook anymore. So therefore, the Ben Ish Chai wasn't worried about because there's a logic to celebrate a birthday. You're happy, you're living another life. What Olam brought you to another year of living, and therefore it's hakarat tov. It makes sense to be grateful, and therefore it would not be a hook. However, this is I'm putting in parentheses. I would ask our members that have the custom that on the birthday, if you're going to follow this Ben Ish Chai, which I have no problem, but they have a birthday cake. Okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with eating cake. It's not a hook to eat cake. We eat cake every day. We eat cake every Shabbat. And if you put on the cake, happy birthday, Jack, okay, that's also okay, big deal. However, what about the custom that they put candles on the birthday cake? Oh, so I want to discuss that. What is the logic to put candles about the number of years of the person's life and then blow them out and make a wish? That sounds to me a little paganistic. That doesn't sound like something that's... Since when... First of all, Jewish people light candles. We don't blow out candles. And what is this inyan of making a wish over blowing out a candle? Now, I'm not discussing the hygienic element of it, that you're blowing all your saliva on the cake when the kid's blowing out the candles. So now you're worried about the pandemic. I think they're going to probably ban birthday cakes, because when you're blowing out the candles, the guy puts all his corona and all the other 100 diseases he had in his body for the past 10 years on his birthday, and now that's his birthday present. That's the mishloach manot ish l're'ehu. Everybody gets now a piece of the action of the guy's germs. So blowing out the cake, leave it from a hygienic standpoint. I think last year, I mentioned this on the Shabbat in Lawrence Avenue in the morning class, and Mr. I.G. Gindi, may live and be well, came back to me the next day and said, I don't believe it. He says, when you said it, it made so much sense to me that, what kind of practice is this? And he shows me an article the next day in one of the newspapers that they did scientific studies, how, it's not a good thing to do. I don't know why you need to go to college for 30 years to figure this out, that it's not a good thing to do. I didn't go to college, and I figured it out on myself that if you spit on cake, it can't be a good thing to do. Guess what? I figured that with a high school diploma, I was able to come to that conclusion, to the credit of the rabbi. In any event, the point is that would be a hook. And that's ubchukotem lo telechu. I actually saw Rabbi Blumenkrantz in his Pesach Digest, which I love Shalom, is much more than a Pesach Digest. That Rabbi Blumenkrantz's book on the digest of Hilchot Pesach has Kol HaTorah Kula in there, by the way. And one of the things he writes is the source of candles on a birthday cake. And he says it was an old paganistic custom. They would put candles for the Avodah Zarah. They would make a wish to the Avodah Zarah, and then they would blow out the candles that they would put on like a muffin or a cake of some sort. So therefore, if you ask my opinion, Ben Ish Chai didn't talk about birthday cakes and candles. He talked about making a Yom Tov on the birthday. Is the birthday celebration Chokotem no Talechu? Absolutely not. It's a logical thing. Like wearing a necktie. It's not something that doesn't make any sense. But to put candles on a cake and blow them out, that's a hook. So therefore, that practice should be abandoned. The Ben Ish Chai brings another proof to the birthday. This proof is a beautiful story that we just read in the Daf Yomi in Masechet Berachot. You remember the famous episode when you had the appointment of Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah to become the new rabbi in the yeshiva in Yavne. They deposed Rabban Gamliel and they brought in Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. And the Gemara says that Hahu Yoma bar tamnes sarehava. That day he was 18 years old, and a miracle happened to him that his black beard miraculously overnight turned white. So when he came to the yeshiva the next day, he had the venerability of a sage with the white beard. So the Ben Ish Chai and Ben Yehoyada in that Gemara Berachot Daf Kafched, he says, why does the Gemara say Hahu Yoma? That day he was 18. He says because it was his birthday. So it wasn't stamped, it was in the 18th year of Rebbe Elazar. Hahu Yoma. But he said, and now we understand why a miracle happened to him on that day. Because he says, and I quote, the Yadua, Sheyom Haleda Yihyeh Hamazal Shel Adam Hazak Ubo Mutzlach. So he says, because we know it already. On the day of a person's birthday, his mazal is strong. And therefore, he's successful on that day. Al ken nohagim shekol adam ya'aseh yom haleda Yom Tov le'atzmo. And therefore he says they should make a Yom Tov. So he brings the ayah of Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah. Why did his beard turn white to his advantage? That was God's birthday gift to him. That day he had a good mazal. Therefore he says that's why the people make it a Yom Tov. The Ben Ish Chai, however, brings another custom, which is very interesting. He says, I heard that some people have the custom to make a celebration on the day that they were circumcised. They celebrate or commemorate the Yom Brit Milah. So, you got to ask your father what day you got circumcised. Most children are circumcised 8 days after they're born. So therefore you figure out your birthday, count 8 days, and then every year on the anniversary of the Brit Milah, the Ben Ish Chai says they have a custom. He says, I personally, he says, uminhag yafehu. I think it's a good minhag. Ve'arev li me'od. It's very pleasant to me. Ach lo nahagnu bazeh bebetenu. He said, we don't have that. We have the custom of birthday parties, but we don't have the custom of Brit Milah anniversaries. But then he says, V'rak ana avda nahagti domar bechol shana v'shana b'yom shenichnasti bebrito shel Avraham Abinu. He says, but I wrote a prayer, Ben Ish Chai is talking, that I say every year on my Brit Milah anniversary. I want to read you the prayer, Rabotai. Ribono shel olam, galui v'yadua lefanecha, ki כהיום הזה שהוא יום כך לחודש פלוני, שהוא היה יום שמיני ללידתי, נכנסתי בבריתו של אברהם אבינו עליו השלום, בשנה הראשונה שנולדתי בה, the first year that I was born, וקיים בי עבדך אבי, my father fulfilled the mitzvah of מילה ופריעה, כאשר ציווית אותנו בתורתך הקדושה, אנא השם, לב טהור ברא לי אלוהים, ורוח נכון חדש בקרבי, ותמשוך עליי מחשבות קדושות, טהורות, זכות, נכונות, ויהיה לי לב שמח בעבודתך תמיד, ותעזרני על דבר כבוד שמך, מעתה ועד עולם, אמן כן יהי רצון. So that's a beautiful tefillah that the Ben Ish Chai established to make on the anniversary of the Brit Milah. There is a a famous opinion of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, alav shalom. Of course, he weighed in on his opinion for the Brit Milah, for the birthday. He found a Yerushalmi. You remember the Gemara tells us that just like Yehoshua ben Nun stopped the sun when he was fighting the war, Shemesh b'Giv'on Dom, so too Moshe Rabbeinu, when they were fighting the war against Amalek, he also stopped the rotation or the cycle of the sun. So the Yerushalmi asks, why did he need to stop the sun? Yerushalmi is in Rosh Hashanah, Perek Gimel Halacha Chet. I'm quoting. Amalek kushfan haya. Amalek was a magician. They had all this black magic. They knew all this type of, sorcery. Ma ya'oseh? Haya ma'amid b'nei adam b'yom ginusya shelo. The people that they would enlist in their army to go fight, the Jews, were people that were celebrating their birthday. So it means you can only fight in a war in Amalek if it's your birthday. That means when they went out to war, you got to show them your license. It's okay, today's your birthday. You would think if it's your birthday, you get exempt from fighting the war. If you work for Amalek, if it's your birthday, that's the day you got to go fight. Why? Yerushalmi. Lomar lo b'mhera adam nofel b'yom genusya shelo. A person doesn't die so quickly on his birthday. And therefore, Amalek understood that the mazal of the birthday is very strong. So therefore, he's trying to find soldiers that will survive it. So therefore, they use this trick of it. So the Lubavitcher Rebbe says, you see over here, that the birthday is an item. So that's why Moshe stopped the sun. Because by stopping the sun, you stop all the mazalot. So whatever mazal is supposed to come out on the birthday, by Moshe stopping the sun, so he pauses it, so therefore it's not going to have the effect. That's the ayah from the Rebbe. And then he said that every year on the person's birthday, the mazal of the person comes back. After all, it must have been a good day. He was born. So therefore the mazal returns back. That day brought him life because he was born. So every year, that day is a segula that he's going to live. That is the proof from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. However, I saw once that they asked a question to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Live and be well. The Sad HaTorah in Bnei Barak. A guy was going in for an operation. So he asked Rav Chaim, live and be well, should he take the operation on his birthday based on that Yerushalmi that you see that the mazal is strong on the birthday? And therefore, maybe a good luck to take the operation, be more successful. Chaim Kanievsky's answer is an amazing answer. He says, Efshar sheze rak be'akum. He says, what are you bringing me a ra'ayah? That was Amalek. Maybe Goyim, they have some type of mazal on their birthday, but you don't have a ra'ayah for Jewish people. You bring me a ra'ayah from Amalek, and then he says, V'sarich iyun. So interesting. So he doesn't think that proof of the Rebbe is so established, or so good. However, Rav Chaim himself, in another sefer that he wrote called Ta'amad Dikra, it's a very good sefer if you get your hands on it, he wrote Hiddushim on every parasha. And I bought that sefer in 1987, when I went to Eretz Yisrael to study for the year. I actually went to Rav Chaim's house. In those days, it wasn't the whole, to do. I went to the rabbi's house and I actually bought it for 10 shekel. It was the best 10 shekel I ever spent. And I bought it from he himself. He took it off the shelf and he gave it to me. I have it here on the shelf over here, Ta'amed Dikra. Anyway, he says in Ta'amed Dikra that Moshe Rabbeinu says in the end of Devarim, Ben me'ah ve'esrim shana anuchi hayom. It was his birthday. He says, today I am 120 years old. Hayom mil'u yamai ushnotai. Today, God has given me complete years. And the Gemara says, Melamed shakadosh baruch hu memale shenotehem shel tzadikim miyom deyom. That God completes the lives of the tzaddikim perfect. They live from, year to year to the exactual day. So he comes along and he says, Rav Chaim, but what do you mean? We know that the mazal of a person is strong, so why should the tzaddik die on that day? So Rav Chaim answers that on the contrary, the tzaddik when he dies, where's he going? He's going to Gan Eden. Isn't that the best thing? That's the best mazal, by the way. No, you want to stay over here on Coney Island Avenue, or you want to sit in Gan Eden? Of course you want to sit in Gan Eden. So he says, that's not a stira against that the mazal is very strong. Adrabah, person lives a good life where he has mitzvot, masim tovim. Adrabah, the mazal of that day is just going to allow him to go now to sit in paradise. So there was no stira. But what do you see from Rav Chaim? That he also agreed that the mazal is very strong. What you have to say is, he just didn't like the proof from that Yerushalmi. That Yerushalmi, you don't have a proof that's talking about Goyim. Obviously, he had other proofs to show that the mazal is strong. I saw a beautiful explanation from the rabbi called the Netziv. Naftali Tzvi Yehuda, Berlin. He comes along and he says, why do we have Rosh Hashanah on the first day of Tishri? Rosh Hashanah, Aleph Tishri. What's the reason? So he says, because that's the most suitable day to ask for things, and God will provide them. Because that's the first day that God created the world. It's the birthday of the world. And therefore, since that day is the birthday of the world where God originally gave the world all its needs, so therefore when you come back on that day, it's Gorem. So from there you see there's an inyan that when the anniversary of something comes up, it has a certain kawah. He also said, and I'm quoting his words, Shebe'oto hayom shenivra davar, on the day that something was created, Misugal ze hayom gam ledorot. That day is Misugal for the generations, Letchazek yoter. He actually says at the end, Umikan yesh ksat ra'aya lema'alat yom ha'huledet etzel Am Yisrael. From the fact that we have Rosh Hashanah on Aleph Tishri. I want to make one point, Rabotai. If you remember in the story of Purim, Purim's coming around, Rabotai. It's around the corner. In Purim, so Haman was all excited, Haman HaRasha, that his lottery landed out on the month of Adar, because that's the month that Moshe Rabbeinu died. And then what does the Gemara say? But Haman didn't know that that's the same month that Moshe was born. So you see from there that what? That the birth of Moshe is a lucky day. Even though he passed away, every year that the birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu comes around, it's a singular B'Klal Yisrael. So you see there must have been something in the birthday. Could be Haman didn't hold like the birthday. He held like the Admor from Munkach that was against the birthdays. That's why Haman didn't know that, but he didn't know the Ben Ish Chai. Anyway, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Alav Shalom, he actually wrote protocol what a person should do on his birthday. I like to read you some of the practices that he brought down. Number one, he said if you can get an aliyah on your birthday, if it's a Monday or a Thursday or a Shabbat, you should tell the gabbai that you want an aliyah. If not, you should try to get an aliyah the Shabbat before your birthday. Number two, you should give tzedakah on the day of your birthday before shacharit and mincha. Of course, if your birthday is on Shabbat, you give it before. He said you should read extra Tehillim on your birthday. And then he says, lekabel al atzmo zehirut nosefet, accept upon yourself an extra little practice that you're going to be, careful on, like you do on Rosh Hashanah, like a Kabbalah. And lastly, he says, la'aroch et va'adut shel simcha im bnei beto. Make a little gathering with your family members and your friends to give praise to Kadosh Baruch Hu that you made it another year. So clearly, you see from that Rav that he was all for the inyan. Now, Rabotai, we move to an interesting Gemara in Moed Katan. I know this might apply also to some of our members that are listening here today. The Gemara in Moed Katan on page 28. Gemara says, Met b'hamishim shana, if a person dies at 50, zui mitat karet. No, I don't know, that's called karet. Hamishim ushtayim, if he dies at 52, zu mitat Shemuel Ramati. That's not karet, that's called the death of Shemuel, because he died at 52. Shishim, if he dies at 60, zu mitat bidei shamayim. If he makes it to 70, that's a great thing. That's called seva. He makes it to 80, the Gemara says, that's already called givurot. Rava comes along and gives a different opinion. Mehamishim ba'ad shishim shana zu mitat karet. Wow. Between 50 and 60, God forbid that's karet. The Gemara says, there was a rabbi called Rav Yosef. Ki hava bar shitin, when he reached the age of 60, abad leu yomat taval rabbanan. He made a party. Celebrated. Why? Amar nafkali mekaret. I'm out of the karet zone. So interesting. You see over here that there's a certain age that already you see from the Talmud they celebrated. It wasn't a celebration necessarily of the birthday, but it's because that they got out of the zone of karet, and once they passed the years of karet, they already happy. So the Ben Ish Chai in Halachot Parashat Re'eh writes, and I quote, "Kishiyagia l'shishim," when a person reaches 60, according to that opinion, or l'shiv'im, or 70, it's a ma'loket when a person gets out of it. Nachon l'lbosh beged hadash, you should put on a new suit. Or yikach peri hadash, or take a new fruit, v'yibarech alav shehayanu, and you make shehayanu on your 60th and 70th birthday. V'yichaven gam al shenotav, and you should have kavanah for your birthday. V'yesh she'osim se'udah kishiyagia l'shiv'im, and some actually make a se'udah when they reach 70 years old. Actually, if you look in the Brit Milah books that we have, there's a special reading called, the Hadrat Perez Zaken, for reading when the person reaches 70 years old. The Hidar writes that some have the custom to make shehayanu. He believed that you shouldn't make shehayanu. He believed that it's beracha lebatala unless you have a new suit. However, I'd like to point out there's a famous opinion of the Bayit Hadash. The Bach holds that even though we have a general rule safek berachot lehakel, that doesn't apply. He holds by shehayanu. Because shehayanu really is what? If you're really happy to be alive. So if the guy's happy that he passed the karet stage, you can't say that it's a beracha lebatala if he's generally happy. So according to the Bach, even if it's a mahlok and he holds, you can always make shehayanu if you really generally have a simcha. I like to point out that somebody asked me about my seder this year. Everybody had a different type of seder. On Lil Seder, everybody was alone. So they said, Rabbi, what was the highlight of the seder this year? And they were shocked at my answer. The highlight of the seder for me this year was not the eating of the matzah, which of course we love. Even the harosa that we look forward to, it wasn't that. The highlight for me of the seder was the kiddush. Why? Because in the kiddush we made a beracha that I had so much appreciation this year more than any other year. You have to keep in mind, Rabotai. When we stand up at the kiddush, we say shehiyanu v'kiyimanu v'gi'anu lazeman hazeh. Thank God I'm alive, that I'm able to be alive at this moment to do the mitzvot. This berachav shehiyanu this year, in my opinion, is more significant than any other year. When we had so many people that were not able to make the seder, that they were, in the hospitals on lo alenu, not fit to make the seder. So to come along and say, but Hashem, I'm alive. All year long we say, Shayano, okay, Shayano, okay, big deal, I'm here. Of course, what do you think? You're not going to be here? This year, God reminded us, don't take it for granted, that when you make a Shayano on Leil Seder, it's a miracle or it's a great thing that you should be grateful for that you made it here. So to me, the highlight of Leil Seder this year, Tavshin Peh, was the Beracha of Shehiyanu v'Kiyemanu v'Giyanu. Nonetheless, the Ben Ish Chai says, when you reach 70 years old or 60, you should get a new suit and have the kavanah for that item as well. Now, I did see, brought down by one of the Hakamim, that when you make this celebration of the birthday, he wanted to say the celebration should only be with Talmidei Hakamim. It's not a birthday with the friends and sketching around. Talmidei Hakamim. And what was his proof? Because Rav Yosef, when he made the party, what does it say? When he got to 60 years old, Avad Yomat Tava L'Rabbanan. He didn't say he made Yomat Tava. It says Yomat Tava L'Rabbanan. He made a Yom Tov for the Rabbanan. He says that's the real Simchat together, the Talmidei Hakamim together. But again, we see that the Ben Ish Chai obviously didn't hold like that. Or the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, you get your friends, and what they mean to say, it shouldn't be a frivolous thing. We're not talking about we're making a birthday party where you're bringing Bozo the Clown and you're making a comedian and Letzanut and all this nonsense. Of course we're not talking about that. We're talking about when a guy gets together with his family, he makes a Seudah, says some Divrei Torah, thanks God for the fact that he's alive. Of course it's done with not frivolity, it's done with sechel. Now, Rabotai, I will tell you that I did find a very, very interesting source at the end of this talk from the Admor from Gur. The Admor from Gur said that we know from the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah on page 10, we know that Yitzhak Abinu was born on Pesach. Oh, so he says, now I understand why he chose to bless his children on Pesach. You remember, when did he want to bless Esav and Yaakov? It was Leil Pesach. That's when they came in to get the Berakah. Why on that night? He says because it's known that on the person's birthday he can ask for anything and his words come true. His blessings come true. So Yitzhak Avinu orchestrated the days of the blessing. So they asked the Admor Megur, how do you know this? So he brought a pasuk in the Tehillim. The pasuk says, Hashem Amar Elai Beni Ata. God says, you are my son. Ani Hayom Yilaticha. God says, today you were born. And what's the next pasuk? She'al Mimeni. Ask from me, ve'etena, and I will give you. So you see over here, Ani Hayom Yilaticha She'al Mimeni. So therefore he says Yitzhak Avinu chose that auspicious day of his birthday in order to bless his children. Last but not least, the last raya that I saw for this item is the fact that we make Birkat Hama. What is the Birkat Hama? Every 28 years, the sun returns back to its original position that it was at the time of the Biriyah. And that becomes a special occasion. So you see that that whenever you have an event that returns back to its original situation, so therefore there's a certain inyan to be mevarech. And therefore, again, Rabotai, Halacha l'Maaseh, there is definitely enough legitimate proof that we don't minimize a person's birthday. A person should be happy on the day. Let him go buy a lottery ticket on that day. His mazal is very good. Let him pray. Let him celebrate with his family. Let him make a seudat hoda'ah that he's alive. It's well known that they say, Moshe Feinstein, Alav Shalom, used to call his children and grandchildren on their birthdays to wish them happy birthday. So if you don't have to be so frum, so religious, birthdays, we don't do that. Go learn Gemara. Okay. So go learn Gemara all day long. Don't eat breakfast either. There's certain things that you have to have hakarat tov, and therefore close the Gemara for a minute and sit down with your family and give them this musad that we said today. Baruch Hashem, you're alive, and it's a good to accept upon yourself that Bezat Hashem Shehayanu v'Kiyemanu v'Gi'anu lazeman hazeh. All right, Rabotai.